So now we're going to look at the 555 timer. This is an NE 555 timer. Micro A 555 timer will work the same, but it's a Schmitt trigger inverter. That's the way we have it wired up. So we have an input signal coming in from this trim pot. We have a high enough voltage above 2/3 of the supply voltage, so high enough voltage in to set the output low. Blue LED is lit up. If I give a low enough voltage below 1/3 supply voltage, then the output goes high right there. So low enough input voltage, high output, that's the inverter part of it. It's a signal inverter. The signal coming out is the opposite as in. Now the Schmitt trigger part, there's hysteresis. So when I drop below 1/3 supply voltage, the output went high. But if I go above 1/3 supply voltage, the output stays high. I have to go above 2/3 to set it low, and then below 1/3 to set it high. Anything in between those 2 points, the output's going to stay in whatever state it was last put into. So that's hysteresis, and it helps avoid a specific spot where maybe it's fluttering because you kind of got it bouncing up and down a little bit right in the middle. It makes it so you definitely have to change the voltage enough before you change the output state. So now I made the power supply voltage 6 volts for this circuit to make the math easy. When we have a high input, that's at least 2/3 of the supply voltage, that means 4 volts or more right there, to make sure we have a high input to set the output low. And then to make sure we set the output high to get a low enough voltage, we need to go below 2 volts right there, 1/3 supply voltage. Makes the math easy. And then anywhere in between 2 and 4 volts, the output's going to stay in whatever state it was in, as I said before. When it comes to a high or low output, that means that when the output is high, it's as connected to the positive supply as best as it can. The transistors in there, when you got a load, actually drop about 1.5 volts. That's really common right there. So with the 6 volt supply, we probably have about 4.5 volts across the red LED. That's to be expected. Now, when the output is low, that means the output is connected to ground as good as it can. It does a really good job with the 555 timer. It won't be a perfect 0 volts. It will go up a little bit with the load, but hardly at all, just a little bit, something to be aware of. So we got a blue LED, lights up when the output is low, red LED lights up when the output is high, but it's not a direct connection again. Remember that, we're losing some voltage, especially when we have a load. And the blue LED is brighter than the red LED. That's one reason why we have more than 4 times the resistance right there. Even if we had 6 volts across the blue LED and 6 volts across the red LED, the blue LED will still look brighter right there. With the 4.5 volts, it's even harder for the red LED to compete with the blue LED. So we'll take a quick look at that. So got a 220 ohm resistor protecting the red LED, 1000 ohm resistor protecting the blue LED to kind of bring their brightness a little bit closer to each other. Now, the pin 4, that is the reset pin. You can see we also wired that up right there. So a reset pin is going to set the output low no matter what you do. So right now we have the trim pot low enough to make sure the output stays high, but it's not as strong as the reset pin. And so I'll move the jumper over to the negative supply right there. If you got pretty much a direct connection to ground, then the output's going to be low no matter what else is going on. It's just going to stay there. And then now I'll remove it. So it's not terribly susceptible to floating, but to make sure you disable it, you put it to the positive supply. So just something to keep in mind. If you want to disable an input, pin 4 goes to the positive supply to disable it. Pin 6 is waiting for 2/3 or more supply voltage, so you could tie it to ground in order to disable it for certain circuits. And then pin 2, just like pin 4, it's waiting for a low enough voltage, in this case 1/3 supply voltage. So if you're not using it in a particular circuit, you put it to the positive side supply right there. So just something to keep in mind. A lot of times you disable inputs for whatever reason, however you want to use the 555 timer. Sometimes that involves disabling inputs. So in any case, pretty simple circuit. Thought I'd explain a little bit extra, so I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you check out one of the videos I'm posting on the screen, and check out links down below. They all help out a lot. I'll see you in the next video.